Okay, so this is the main menu of Berthier. After you engage the program, this is what you're going to see. You see the options for the new or open and save the campaign. Save campaign is what you will be using most of the time after you've done your actions. And if you want to edit units, this is the action you will do here, right here, for editing various components of the campaign. Intelligence reports. This is the unmodifiable or just reporting section of the program. Where you can issue your orders is right here, and contact resolution can be done here when we have small units engaged and we don't want to set up a battle. That's how you do it. Then there's references and tools, which we'll get to, and utilities as well. Berthier options won't be used because that's the setup options and parameters for the actual campaign. So let's actually begin with utilities, and we'll see what's in there. We can play back the campaign, seeing all the moves to date on screen. We can look at the campaign economy for your side, which is in this case the rebels, and then army plans, which we're not using. So let's look at playback the campaign. I don't think I've actually, well, maybe we have done some things, so let's have a look at that. So when doing this, I believe you hit the spacebar or click the mouse to see the next progression. You can see that there are some changes happening. Some units have moved, and they're moving again. And in this case, it's just doing it for demonstration purposes, so things might be moving strangely. And then we'll just watch this happen here until it gets to the end. And I believe if you, I don't know if in this playback if you can click a thing. Oh, you can. All right. So this takes you to the order of battle. It says at the end of move 5 and the end of the rebel movement. So it's showing that Scout 1 is the units at the selected square. So this is position 162. This is actually showing both. The units are shown in their location. So that's what this is showing. And then here we have Scout 1, which is located there. So this just goes to show you how the playback works. And then this unit has been, now at this point you see it jumped because we discovered that the Scout needs to be moving faster. So so this, when we press the space bar, it just went to the conclusion. So what you saw here was the units were moving. Then we discovered that they were moving too slowly, so we increased it, and that's why that one unit jumped so fast. So we did learn here that there are places you can click. Okay, so we'll go back to where we were. So that was playing back the campaign, and then the campaign economy. We'll show that. You can edit the political boundary or the terrain economic values. You can view the boundaries. Let's have a look at that. That just goes to show you the political boundaries, not necessarily what is owned particularly, but it probably is. But it's the political boundary, if you will. So that just goes to show you Union and Confederate. Let's close that by clicking the X box up here, and then we can view the political boundaries on the map. That's what it would look like. And then the ownership report shows what is being currently owned by both sides and how much space there is yet to occupy. The revenue report is kind of the same thing. It shows you the amount of income coming in at the for the campaign, and then you can exit the economy right here. So we'll just say no because we're going back to Berthier. Okay. So that's essentially the utilities section. We're not using any of the other things. So the players probably won't be using the utilities. But we'll do the reference and tools now. We can see there's a campaign notebook that calls up the notebook, which is a notepad where you can type in anything you like. In this particular case, I think there is already something there. This is talking about the entire the rules themselves for playing the campaign, and currently how much supply there is in each of the towns. So this kind of document is good. It's basically dated now because a new document's been created, but this is basically the idea, and it tells you things that you may need to know. So then we'll close that, we'll go back. So we're not using random events, we are using the cards for the random events. The reference tables we're not using because there aren't really any references needed. We're not using any of the alarms either. That could be a thing we'll do later. And when we needed to roll dice, we'll probably be using this dice roller right here. Now this is pretty good actually. This dice roller lets you choose one die, whether it's a two-sided die or a 100-sided die. And then there's a option here for rolling a 2d6. And then the generic dice, you can click this where you can see the number of dice and the number of sides of the dice. So that helps that. So then this is access to a Windows calculator, just the normal application. This is the, again, we're in Reference and Tools. We're looking at the terrain map. So this is the Berthier terrain map. Now to navigate this, you can use these boxes up here, or you can use your keypad, keyboard. And you can right mouse, let's see, this left arrow, right arrow, up arrow, and down arrow. So you can navigate. This is the way you navigate. You don't use the mouse here. So these little purple are the towns, the brown are the mountains and rough areas, and blue is water. You cannot cross them, but right here you can see that there's between 128 and 159. That's a diagonal crossing right here, and that's what that means. Whenever you see that kind of thing, it means you can go from here to there. You don't have to move like a rook in chess, but this allows you to move right between these 2 points here. So it also is the same for anything else you find where there's a diagonal. Here it's a straight up square crossing, and of course here's a diagonal between 308 and 279, so on and so forth. So then you can use your arrow keys to move around, and you can see, by the way, whenever you hover or end your cursor somewhere, down in the lower right hand side of the screen it tells you the number again of the location, the name, in this case it's Frost Town, and the square 323, what it is, and how much supply points are there. Now for this particular case you can also put in the notes. Now I believe these notes will be able to be read by both players. So whenever you put notes in there, Frosttown will have a notes information here that's written. And then you can do the image right here. We'll show you basically the screen capture of what it looks like. Now in this particular case, when you get to look, here's Frosttown. This is just a capture from the actual battle map that we're using. You can click here and you can reduce the magnification. So you can just see that that's basically where we're at. The Frosttown battlefield looks like this. Now, what's interesting about this is these trees indicate that it's very rough going for forestation. Everywhere else in the campaign, basically, you'll see it won't be indicated on our map, the Berthier map, but on the actual map, the capture we're looking at here of the board game, the board game itself. Any place that it shows green like this, these forests, that's heavily forested. Otherwise, it's mostly forested everywhere else. That is, unless it's a tan color, a light color that shows open area. No, not that many trees to be of any significance. So here's the mountains we can see right here. This is what the mountains, and then there's certain places right here. This is a gap through the mountains and also through the mountains here. And that's why these on the campaign map, on the Berthier map, might show a certain degree of diagonals or clear as opposed to being brown, and so on and so forth. Alright, so let's take that away. Alright, so here we are back again, and you can see, so that's how that works. Now let's close this. And we've already saw the terrain. Well, here's the entire map itself right here. Sorry. Campaign map BMP image. So there's the bitmap of the entire map of the campaign that we're using. Actually, is it? Is that the whole map? Yeah, I think it is. This is the whole campaign map right here that we're looking at. I'm having to scroll because I designated the size of the capture, but this is basically our campaign map right here. Alright, so let's use the close box on that. And Again, this is for the judge. Deployment plot shows both Union and Confederate that we've already looked at. So that is the reference and tools. And again, here is the intelligence reports for the rebel forces. Sometimes you have to click the right thing to get to go. Okay, here's the order of battle. Operational status. Again, order of battle is where you can look at all the units and their subunits. So if there's a subunits listed in here, these are not things you'll see in the game, but they're just inside this. So when you click on a selection, there's no subunits in this unit. It's just the one unit itself. So that may not be prepared yet, but at any rate, that's the idea. There will be listings of things inside there, just for your information. So we don't need to say anything more about that. And then there's the messages we can send to units, and so on.